Hi, I'm Dulcie Hill, and I want to talk a little bit about how our behaviors are modified and why MS is so wonderful as far as finding out who we are in the world and who we are to ourselves and what we can be a slave to. Most behaviors are dictated first with the instinctual behavior. And you can think of that as being a child. When you were a child, you cried because you wanted to be fed, you wanted to be warm, you want there's self-preservation is an instinctual behavior. Sex is an instinctual behavior. These are the things that we need. And you have to be careful because that is the animal side of us. That is what makes us eat a whole cheesecake when we're only supposed to eat a slice or taste. Our bodies say, no, you want more. Uh, let's say instinct without discipline is gone astray, gets us in a lot of trouble. Now the second stage of that is there is something, and this I got all this from C.S. Lewis. I studied it, and I studied behavioralism and stuff. What is interesting is that C.S. Lewis says there's a herd mentality. A herd mentality is what you are grown up with, knowing is right or wrong, what society tells you, what your family tells you, what's right or wrong, what your school and the country you live in. It tells you. So what happens is you can look over at a person drowning and say the instinct is self-preservation. I'm not going to save that person. See, if you didn't have that herd mentality, but since you've been raised in this herd mentality, oh, that is somebody who's in our herd, and I know the right thing to do is to save them. So you can override your instinct to preserve yourself and save them because it's a herd mentality. Herd mentality is also, it's just doing what you're supposed to do, what society deems is important, right? And you can easily suppress instinct to a certain level. Now, the third is called moral law, and that's a law of a higher power. I believe it's the God gene, right? The God gene allows us to sacrifice more of ourselves, more of our instinct, more of the herd mentality. Go again to it. Say you've got a lot of people line you up, and you're kneeling on a beach, and they say, denounce Christianity, and you'll live, right? And everybody in the line denounce Christianity. This is and you're the only one that says I won't, right? It's something that supersedes everything. The herd mentality, uh, you're willing to risk it all. Here's another example. I have a friend who he'll be tired, he'll be exhausted, he'll come home at the end of the day, and if he knows there is somebody who needs something done for them who lives like 10 miles away, he will sacrifice his comfort. He will sacrifice just the herd mentality. At the end of the day, you go home, right? And he will go and work with that person, help that person. So it's he denies himself. He's a spiritual person. Okay, so let's put it together. I think everybody's got a cheesecake size hole in their heart, or in their there's that no cheesecake eating it consistently will fill. So where I'm going with that is that you say you desire somebody, you've got a hole in your heart, and you think your spouse isn't doing it for you, and somebody else looks at you like you're ice cream and cake, and you think, well, instincts is just a while that my spouse doesn't do it for me or is not adoring me like it should. So do you feel it just for 2 years? Think about that. Just 5 minutes. How fulfilling is that going to be? And what's it going to do to your soul? I mean, when you look in the mirror, can you really say you're an honest person? I think about that. All right. And also, should you eat an extra piece of cheesecake? Should you allow your body to sit on the couch? Right. Well, if you have that God type moral code in your heart, then if you do this, and I read the Bible, and so much of the Bible tells us our flesh is weak. Our flesh is so weak. Oh my gosh, a cheesecake. Oh my gosh. You know, but what separates us from animals is that we have the need to fill that hole in our hearts. And the only thing that'll fill that hole in our hearts is God. It's not a cheesecake size hole, it's a God size hole that we fill with cheesecake, we fill with extra cookies, we fill with alcohol, we fill with things that make us feel adequate when we're disabled and we have MS. We can't go to the gym, we can't exercise, we can't eat right because well, we're victims of MS. We're not victims of MS, we're victims of our instinct. Uh, the herd mentality could give us a goose to show up at parties that we agree to go to or family get togethers, right? But it takes a superhuman, a God, a relationship with God to make a commitment to go to a family get together and rise above, allow God, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, go there. And not just because everybody's eaten 2 or 3 pieces of dessert. No, sugar's bad for MS. At least that's what they say because it offers an inflammation. No, no, I'm going, and it's so great because it's that discipline, the discipline you get from believing in something greater than yourself that allows you to recognize my flesh is weak. I need to be steady. I need a higher power because without a higher power, I'm doing a lot for myself that's going to be destructive to everybody. But again, look at your life, look at what you're not doing, and look at what you're doing, and decide if you're acting like an animal, or if you can, if that you can just change your life by acknowledging that. That's what I've been meditating on and reading all sorts of Bible passages on how weak the flesh is. And I'm enjoying even Bathsheba was bathing and he just couldn't help himself. He was looking at cheesecake. Anyway, so please subscribe. God bless you. And I'm starting that MS Fitness exercise rehab stuff on Wednesday next week. There, go to msfrontiers.org and see what I have for you there. And keep coming back.